It has been a crazy week.
What?
Hey y'all, it's Darlene and welcome back to the Road to Recovery. I want to thank you for walking along with me on this journey to recovering myself. That is my personhood, my spiritual health, emotional health, physical health, all of that. I am recovering all of it, and I'm walking down this road, and I am so glad that you are here with me. And if this is your first time, I invite you to look at the playlist in the description box and start with video 1 so you can hear exactly why I'm starting all of this and doing all of this to begin with. And then click the subscribe button with the bell option because you'll want to be notified when I upload a new video to the playlist. And hopefully the things that I learn and that I can share with you will be an encouragement to you in your own journey to recovery. I want to thank those who are here every week walking with me. Let's get started with a drum roll because we have weight loss to discuss. Did I lose any weight? I did. I lost 2 pounds this week. I'm shocked because I've been the 1 pound wonder forever. And I lost 2 pounds this week. Don't know how that happened, but I'm very happy about it and I will take it. Take 2 this week. I had a pretty good week. All right, I have company. Always happens when I get down on the floor and get ready to do a workout. This big girly girl wants to come lay down with me. But anyway, I did not want to be here. I did not want to do this. I am so not in the mood. But I told my son in a graduation speech to him that he needed to show up and do the things that he didn't want to do. Because people had asked him to be there, you know, go to the lame parties and, you know, boring whatever, because somebody asked you to do it. Well, my body is asking me to be here and do this right now. So I'm going to do it. And hopefully my body will thank me later for it.
And I want you to bend your knees.
No.
I want you to have your feet flat on your bed, and I want you to lean and squeeze your abdominals no matter how far back they are, and push all that air out. Much as you can. Exhale, human cannonball. Bring it in tight. Down. Bring the next leg up. That would be 1, 1. So lower. Pick the left leg up. 1. Pick the right leg up. Now let it go. Try to pull the right knee into your chest. Let it go. Out of the way. Deepest breath of the day. DDPY in the bedroom. Exhale, kick it out. Hit it. Bang. Don't forget to do this tomorrow.
Well, the cicadas have made it to our tree. And it's really gross. Sorry. I'm sorry. Let's see if I can get in. Can we get in here? Let's see. Do you see any flying around in there? There we go. It's just flying around in there. And you can see them on the tree. They're like hanging all over the tree. And how would you like to have this right outside your window? Thankfully we have the air on because it's hot, and we have fans running, so it kind of drowns out the noise, but this is really loud. And we also read somewhere that on the decibel level it can get up to 100. I mean, that's loud. It's really loud. there's something that I wanted to share with everybody because when I was working on in the Conquer Journey videos with Leslie Vernick, and again, if you're new, I'm going to put a link down in the box. You can access that anytime to find out who Leslie Vernick is on YouTube and what she talks about. She is a counselor, a coach, if you will, for women who are involved in abusive relationships, emotionally destructive marriages, things like that. As I walk down this road to recovery, I have to discover things that have been going on and telling myself the truth, but also learning about what God says about relationships, what God says about me, and getting myself healthy, and then being able to try to deal with this relationship that we've been trying to deal with for 20 years. But I didn't understand a lot of things. You don't know what you don't know, I think is how they say that. And there's a lot of things I just did not get, I didn't see. There was a lot of spiritual abuse from my church, which enabled things here at home. And it's just been a very destructive relationship. And, can it be salvaged? I don't know. God knows. Only God knows the hearts. And it's not my job to be the Holy Spirit, for my husband. I've pointed him in the right direction. And, several times we've been in counseling for years, in and out many times. And one person can't fix the marriage. It has to be two people. And actually, you're not fixing the marriage. You have to fix yourself first. And you have to get with God first and be a healthy individual. And when two healthy people are in a marriage, then when things come up and problems arise, or feelings are hurt, you're able to deal with things in a healthy way rather than in a destructive way. And so that's a lot of what Leslie Vernick talks about in her Conquer program. And again, I've been working on a safety plan, things that I need to know for my safety, my kids' safety. And so that means getting finances in order. And going through that this week has been very, very rough and very sickening in some ways, because I've discovered some things that I had suspected, but I was able to actually get it all out on the table, literally. I've had stacks of papers, bank statements, credit card statements, all of it, all on the table in stacks. And my kids are, they come downstairs and they're like, "Oh, mom's working on something." And so they turn around and go back upstairs. But, but I need to see everything. I trusted my husband because I thought that that's what a good Christian wife would do, is to let her husband handle these things and be in charge of them. And there are a lot of things I didn't question. One, because I didn't think that I was supposed to or that I could. And two, is I just really didn't know. And when I did try to question, it was met with resistance. And so I just left it alone because I wanted to be the wife that trusted her husband and let him do these things, and things that I had suspected, things that had been happening for the past 2 or 3 years. And I started to try to do some research and investigative, that's not the right word, gathering of information myself to try to figure out what's going on. I've spent this week literally just combing through every single line and going through everything from our mortgage to car payments to everything. And while I was doing that, I was feeling all of discouragement, brokenness, betrayal, and just getting downright angry at myself. Again, I get angry at myself a lot because I feel like I know better, because I was very independent before I got married. At least then I knew how to stand up for myself and hold the boundaries and, hold people accountable. But I'm telling you, we got involved in the church that we had been in for 17 years, and it just seemed to silence me. It was big on silencing women, and the wife especially. And it's like when you get married, all of a sudden you lose your identity and you lose your individuality. When they say that you become one, well, that means that the wife loses herself and it's all about the husband, and everything is about the husband in the home. And it's just, it is not healthy. Not really sure what I'm talking about when I'm talking about spiritual abuse and things like that. in the home and in the church. And I have a video that I did recently on that about what does spiritual abuse look like. And so you're going to want to watch that so you can get an idea of what that looks like in the church and in your home. I've been going through a devotional, but in the devotional, there was a story and it just touched my heart. It just brought me right back to, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's always, when just turning everything back to God, it's always the gospel. It's always Jesus. And he knows, Jesus knows what we go through. And so let me share this story with you, okay? Suppose there was a king who loved a humble maiden. The king was like no other king. Every statesman trembled before his power. No one dared breathe a word against him because he had the strength to crush all opponents. And yet, this mighty king was melted by love for a humble maiden who lived in a poor village in his kingdom. How could he declare his love for her? In an odd sort of way, his kingliness tied up his hands. He could demand her as his wife, wine and dine her with lavish gifts, impress her with his power and wealth, but a simple thought nagged him. Would she truly love him? The king, convinced he could not win her affection without crushing her freedom, renounced his throne. Clothed as a beggar, he approached her village to win her love. During his time in the poor village, he often felt depressed. The young maiden rejected his advancements and gifts. The friends he made betrayed him. People mocked him openly in the streets. Eventually, he was accused of a crime he didn't commit and was executed. This story is a little bit of a twist from the short story, The King and the Maiden. Reading this instantly reminded me of Christ's love for us and how he is a powerful king and he fell in love with the world. For God so loved the world. And that world includes me and includes you. And I put myself in this story. I am the maiden, and he fell desperately in love with a maiden from a poor village. I'm a poor person in this world, in his kingdom. So he left his kingly throne and came dressed as an ordinary person and began to declare his love. And because I was in the state that I was in, I pushed him away. I didn't want anything to do with him. That's just like the world. The world does the same thing. He comes and he wants to love, and they reject him and they mock him and they beat him and they break him. I feel broken, and I can look at the story of Jesus' life here on earth and his death, burial, and resurrection and why he did it, and knowing that he was broken many times over. He was ripped to shreds. He was pierced through. He was beaten. He was physically broken. And he knows that pain. And he knows the pain of being rejected. You don't follow the same way of living or thinking as other people's. Well, then you get, you're despised and rejected. Just look at the world today. We're divided over the way we think, how we live our lives, where we stand on certain issues, and even by labels, whether or not we are this thing or that thing. And it's all over. It doesn't matter if it's in, the church or it's in the community. It's everywhere. And we are despised by others for small little things. And then there's betrayal. And I felt betrayal from friends, from what I thought was church family, and I also have felt betrayal from someone who has promised and pledged to love and cherish me. And there's that betrayal of you had placed your trust in this person, and your future in this person, and it has been beaten and neglected, mistreated, abused, and that's betrayal, And Jesus felt that too. Peter, one of his inner inner three, like his inner circle. And Peter denied him 3 times. In public, he denied that he ever knew him. And I have also felt depressed and lonely, very lonely, and a lot of anxiety. And I have to remember that my Lord felt that too. The night that he was betrayed, he was heavy laden, he was burdened, and when he was praying, he was sweating drops of blood, and he was asking the Lord, if this cup would pass from me, would it? But nevertheless, I'm here to do your will. I understand, but geez, if you could just take this away, that'd be great. He knew what he was up against. And I knowing what I'm up against, I can go through it too. Jesus knows he's not just some person that's just sitting up there and he's just a great name to profess and a great teacher to live, to pattern your life by. But he knows on a very personal level exactly everything that I'm feeling, and then some. You can tell a lot about someone about money and spending habits. There was a man that used to come into our church. He would do our books. He was an accountant. He would do our books every year, but he would also preach on, having, being good stewards of your money and doing things wisely and, from a financial perspective, because that's what he did. He said, show me your checkbook and I'll show you where your priorities are. And boy, is that true, because when you start going through and you start following the money and you start seeing things, that's what a priority, where the priorities are, you really see it. And when the reality just really starts to open up in front of you, it hurts. It's disappointing, because there it is, the stuff that you have suspected happening, there it is. And you knew it was kind of going to be bad, so it wasn't surprising. But then when you discover just how bad it really is, it's a slap in the face, I guess. And it's very sobering. And so it's been a rough week with that. But I want this to be an encouragement, because when you are going through things and you're not sure of your life, you're spinning out of control, or you're just going a downward spiral of depression and anxiety and worry, betrayal, hurt, you can know that Jesus knows these feelings and experiences on a very personal level, and he is here for you to help you and say, hey, I know you so well, and I'm here to help you through this and walk with you. And so going down this road to recovery, he's walking with me. And even though I know that, it's become, I guess, a little bit more personal, because I realize he walked the same road. Now, I hope I don't have to die. It's like he did, but in a way I am buried with him in baptism, and I've risen again to new life. And that was such an encouragement and such a reminder, a good reminder, especially when I was going through these dark moments of discovery. So that's a good thing. I know that that Jesus is with me, and as I sort through all of these things and prepare to be able to have a conversation with my husband about finances and budgeting and these kinds of things, and to address all of these situations, I'm gonna need a lot of strength for that. And so knowing that Jesus is with me is helping me a lot. Thank you for watching and walking with me. And until next time, y'all, peace, love, and healing.